Hello everyone and welcome to a new video in my road to 2200. I recently made a poll on which you could vote for what my next video should be. As you can see, there was an overwhelming preference for another road to 2200 video. I'm happy with the result because I really love making these types of videos. And for today's video, I'm playing against a King's Indian attack. And I decided to first explain the basics of this opening to you, so you have an idea of what you're looking at. After that, I'll analyze the game, which was decided in the middle game. Also, I would like to give you a quick update. I recently made an Instagram account on which you can follow my activities. You are welcome to follow me and see where the journey takes us. Now let's dive straight into the game. To give you an idea of what the King's Indian attack looks like, we're first going to see the move Knight f3, and that's the normal starting move for the King's Indian attack. Well, against this, there's a lot of things that black can do, but in the end, white will just play g3, bishop to g2, castle, play d3 and try to play for the move e4. That's the entire idea of the system. But what happened in our game was something else. I'll flip the board for a second. He first started with e4, and now I play e6 because I like playing the French. And right now, after seeing e6, he decides to play for a King's Indian setup by playing the move d3. Now, normally a French player plays d5, so I did as well. And now, instead of going for this setup right away, he decided to play the move knight to d2 first. Right now, whenever I take on e4, he can take back with the pawn, and after that there's no exchange of queens. So that's what he was going for. Now, after this, I decide to play the move knight to f6, and after that he starts developing his pieces to the king side. Now he first starts with g3, trying to fianchetto the bishop to g2. I play c5, also a normal French move, taking space on the queen side. After that, he plays bishop to g2. I play knight c6. And right now, this is sort of the starting point of the King's Indian attack for when you play against the French. And right now, normally they play the move knight to f3 and they castle king side. But my opponent decided to play it a little bit differently with the move f4. And f4 I'm not really a fan of because, well, in the system, you never really want to push your f-pawn away. Right now, this diagonal becomes really weak, and I will be able to make use of it later, I think. So f4 is not really in the style of the position. You do grab a lot of space on the king side. Now, after this, I play the move bishop to e7 and not to d6 because you would get forked. So let's not do that. And the bishop also belongs on e7 against the King's Indian attack, so that's not really a big deal for me. Now, after this, he decides to play the move knight to f3. I castle and he castles, and this is where the opening ends and the middle game begins. Now, for the middle game in the King's Indian attack, it's very important that the white pieces try to attack on the king side as much as possible and really try to put some pressure on my king. And for the black pieces, what you want to do is expand on the queen side and really just put some pressure on this underdeveloped queen side. Who gets to make that plan first and execute the plan first is often the person that has a better position. Now, what I try to do is immediately put some pressure on the queen side and start expanding with the move b5. The computer is not a big fan of it, but he just kind of appreciates the fact that I put some pressure on the queen side, and after that I can place my queen on the b6 square, not blocking my own pawn on b7, and then exert some pressure on the king. Right now he reacted on the queen side and he played the move c3, and playing the move c3 also prevents me from stepping any further right now. But after this, I just decide to play the move queen to b6. And now, whenever I play the move c4, the queen attacks the king and he has to move it. And then afterwards, I have a discovery, perhaps. Let's just put some pressure on the king. Right now, he decides to play the move king to h1, really stepping out of this pressure. And after that, I can play the move a5, really putting as much pressure on the queen side as possible. After this, also my bishop might be developed to a6, and there's a lot of things I can do here. White is not capable of really putting some pressure on the king side right now, because this pawn on f4 also blocks the pieces, and there's no real way to get the queen involved over here. So there's not really an attack right now. He decides to play the move rook to e1, which is normally a move, but you only really see it when the pawn is on f2, and after that, you support the e5 push, also with the queen on e2. Against rook to e1, I decided to play the move b4, just get some tension on the queen side. And after this, my opponent played the move queen to c2. And I think that's the first mistake of the game. The queen never really wants to go to the c2 square. There's no real pressure he puts right now. There's 2 pawns in front of it, and also there's a lot of tension that needs to be resolved before there can be some kind of an attack on the king side. Now after this, I played the move bishop to a6, just taking this diagonal for my bishop, and I really like the fact that my bishop gets these open lines, because normally in the French it's really difficult to develop your light square bishop. Against the King's Indian attack right now, it's pretty easy. Now he decides to play the move e takes d5, and there's actually 2 things I can do. Both of them are almost equally good. You can take with the pawn, putting 1 more pawn on the queen side and trying to put some more pressure over here, or I can take with the piece, which I did in the game, and actually try to put some pressure. My opponent could have played for f5 maybe, or just played for knight to c4, really putting some pressure on my queen and try to fight back on the queen side. But instead of that, he plays the move knight to e4, which I really found a weird move. I don't really see what he's planning to do here. He does take away some squares from my bishop, but also there's no real way forward. And whenever he tries to go to the queen side or to the king side and play the move d4, I think I'm just in time by just playing the move g6 or something. I don't really see any danger with that. After this, I play the move rook f to d8, just some more pressure on this pawn on d3, which is kind of a liability for him right now. Also, there's ideas of taking the pawn, and after the queen takes back, making a discovery of some kind. Right now it's not worth it, but maybe at a later stage it will be. Right now he plays the move knight f to d2, trying to make way for his bishop to put some pressure on this diagonal, which is quite a strong diagonal for him. That's what he has going right now. And after this, I make some crucial mistakes, I think. I don't get a losing position from it, but I'm just getting a bit worse right now. What I could have done, and perhaps should have done, is take some more space on the queen side with the move a4. And a4, it looks really weird because I'm just giving up the pawn. But after that, I can just take this pawn and the queen is attacked. The queen just gets in a lot of danger. He wouldn't have been able to take the pawn after I play a4. And it just takes some more space over there. And whenever he takes on b4, I can put one of my knights in there and really put some pressure on this d3 pawn, simultaneously attacking the queen. So what happened here, I actually took on c3. And taking on c3 right here is just a mistake. I open up this line for him to put his rook in. And also, when he takes back, I don't really have any pressure on the c3 pawn. And also, this d3 pawn is nowhere near being captured. Not really great. And after this, I try to exchange some more pieces with the move bishop to f6. I wanted to put some pressure on this pawn, maybe try to provoke him and play the move d4. But he just takes my bishop. And after I take back, he just adds 2 pawns in the center, which are quite comfortable. I don't really have any pressure on it right now. And he can resolve all his issues by playing the move knight to c4. And what happens after knight c4, I do take it and double his structure. But it's really hard for me to get to any of these pawns because it's blocked by my own c5 pawn. Also, this c3 pawn takes away some big squares for my knight, simultaneously with the f4 pawn. So I need to get some pressure on the light squares, but he has a very good bishop right now. I think I'm just quite a bit worse here. After this, I try to get my rook out of this diagonal to be able to move my knight. So I play the move rook to b8. And right now, I really expected to see something like f5 or something, really trying to put some more pressure on my c5 pawn in the end, because after f5 and I take and he takes with his queen, he has a lot of open lines. Also, this bishop might be able to come over here when the knight moves. There's really a lot of pressure on my king side, and also this bishop can get very annoying. So I was expecting to see f5, but instead of that, he played the move bishop to e3, which is also a fine move, putting some pressure on c5 and really asking me what I want to do right now. Now, for the end of the game, it's really a bad way to end this, but I played the move knight to e7. And after this, I really wanted to go to f5 and put my knights on the light squares over here. What happens in the game, he plays the move queen a4, and queen a4 only puts pressure on this pawn, and for the rest, it doesn't really do anything. It just means that I can play the move knight f5 winning a tempo on the bishop because he never really wants to exchange that bishop. After placing it back on g1, I play the move knight to g4. And right now there's a lot of things that white can do. Perhaps he can play bishop to f3 or e4, anything else but playing the move h3. And h3, it's just a giant blunder because you give away mate in 1, and mate in 1 is found by playing the move knight takes g3. The king is in the corner of the board, so only 4 squares need to be covered. These two are blocking the king. Just he can't move through them, which he really would want to. I just attacked the king, and this square is defended by the knight that's being attacked with h3. But right now it's just checkmate, and there's nothing for white to do anymore. Now, for the next video, I'm going to give you a task because I really want to know what kind of openings you want to see and what you really want to improve on yourself, so I can show it to you. Now, there's a lot of choices. I mean, I'm pretty diverse in my opening choices, so let me know which opening you'd like to see, and I'll see which one I can play and which one I'd rather not play. Leave that in the comments, and for the next video, I really hope to see you again. Leave a like on this one, subscribe if you like the content, and I really hope to see you all next time. Bye bye.